Did you know that resource guarding is actually a normal behavior in dogs? It's natural for them to want to protect things that they consider to be high value. As a certified dog behavior consultant, I see a lot of resource guarding, and some of the most common types that I see are dogs that are guarding people, they're guarding confined spaces, toys, and even chewies that are high value like their yak chews. Because resource guarding can be aggressive in nature, it can pose a threat to pet parents, especially if you have kids in the household who don't necessarily know how to pick up on body language from a dog that they don't want them getting any closer to that person or that toy or their food. Bites from dogs that are resource guarding make up a large portion of dog bite cases. Resource guarding can also be problematic if you have visitors that come over and visit frequently, or if you want to bring another animal into the household. So how do you know if your dog is resource guarding? Well, you have to look at their body language to determine how comfortable or uncomfortable they might be with you around their objects or their things of high value. Things to look out for are stiffening of the body, even a curling of the lip, perhaps a low growl, them trying to move away from you, and even a snap or a full-on bite when you get close to something that they have. Now, not every dog is going to react the same way, so even though there is a progression of aggression, so to speak, not all dogs will follow kind of that ladder of aggression. Some dogs may go from stiffening right into a snap.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
This is especially the case for dogs that have been punished or told not to growl or not to communicate when they're feeling uncomfortable. So some signs of resource guarding can be quite easy to pick up. For example, when a dog is guarding their crate or perhaps even their food bowl. Other signs are more subtle and not as easy to pick up on. For example, when a person is being guarded by their dog, it might not be as obvious as it is with a food bowl. Now, while resource guarding is more common with people that the dog doesn't know or other animals that the dog doesn't know, it's actually quite common to see it in our household as well, with people that are in the same family and animals in the same family too. Relationships play a big role in whether a dog is going to resource guard or not. It's something that they're concerned with in terms of an approaching person or animal, that they're going to lose something of value. Something is going to be taken away. So if they have the type of relationship with a person or another animal where they don't see that person as a threat to things that they love, the likelihood of them resource guarding becomes much, much less. Some ways that you can prevent resource guarding in the house, especially with a young dog or a puppy, are to approach the puppy while the puppy is eating and toss something really, really yummy in their bowl. You can also approach them when they're in their crate or in a confined space, just to mimic what it might be like to have someone approaching them in a cuddled up safety corner of the house. This is teaching them that essentially just because someone or something is approaching you doesn't mean something bad is going to happen. When it comes to food and food aggression, which is a type of resource guarding, you want to get your pup super familiar with people being around their bowl and in their bowl. And to do that, sometimes we'll start off by hand feeding so that your dog has a positive association with food and with you. And then from there, we can progress to handling the bowl and something really yummy happening for them every time you're near the bowl or someone else in your family is as well. Hand feeding is a great tool to help prevent resource guarding, and the reason is you're building a positive association with food and with you. So practice this with all family members, to where all family members get to take turns hand feeding your new puppy or your new dog, and then you can build up from there to where now you're also handling food bowls and toys and other things of high value or potentially high value to your puppy. Always make sure that you come bearing something super yummy so that your puppy learns that your approach is all positive. One of the things that you never want to do is simply just walk up to your dog or puppy while they're eating or enjoying a chewy, something that they find of value, and take it away. What that does is condition them to know that when you approach them, you're going to take something away from them. That is significantly going to increase the likelihood that they're going to guard not just their food, but other things as well. One of the recommendations that you might see online is to sit by your puppy or your dog and actually pet them or stroke them while they're eating. This is a really outdated method, and unfortunately, it can actually make your dog even more concerned or nervous with you being in their space while they're eating. Teaching your puppy or your dog a release or a trade cue can be really, really helpful to decreasing the likelihood that they're going to guard things from you. The way that we do this is when they have an object in their mouth, we trade them for something like a yummy treat for a toy, and then we give it back and we do it over and over again so that they see we're not going to be the fun police. We'll continue to play with them. They can continue to play with their toy. Each time they release the object willingly, something good will happen for them. When teaching your puppy how to release things on cue or to trade for them, you want to make sure that the object you're trading them for is actually of higher value than what they have in their mouth to begin with. So if you have a dog that loves their ball and that's super high value to them and you offer them a piece of kibble to trade, chances are that's not going to work. They're not going to be motivated by that. So what you can do instead is hand them a handful of fresh turkey or another ball and then see how much easier it is to get them to trade that object with you. Also remember that when you're teaching your dog to trade, you want to do it repetitively. So you don't want to just trade them once or twice. You want to do it over and over and over again. That way, the default is that we're going to do this game back and forth multiple times. So if you ever have to take something maybe potentially hazardous or toxic away from your puppy, they're way more likely to willingly release it, knowing that there's typically fun that follows the release. When training your new puppy or dog to prevent resource guarding, it's really important that you don't just train or work with one object or one of each objects. So for example, not just their food bowl and not just a toy. You want to use multiple different bowls in different locations and multiple toys in multiple locations, as well as with other family members, other dogs, to really make preventing resource guarding stick. So what do we do if your dog is already resource guarding? Well, there are a couple of different practices that you can put into place to lessen the stress that your dog is feeling when someone approaches their food, their toy, or their person. If your dog is showing any signs of aggression, it really helps to work with a dog behavior professional. Behavior professionals are well skilled at helping to clue you in at certain very subtle, oftentimes, signals that your dog is uncomfortable. And being able to read their body language is the first step in trying to treat resource guarding issues. If your dog is a mild to moderate resource guarder and you don't really need to call in a professional just yet, there are a couple of different desensitization and counter-conditioning exercises that we can do to hopefully completely extinguish any type of resource guarding. The goal of these games is to make your dog feel more comfortable and change their emotional state in regard to how they feel when someone or something approaches them with their high-value object. Follow these next steps in this exercise to help with resource guarding. Step 1, when your dog is eating or playing with a toy that they commonly guard, stand outside of your dog's reaction zone with a few tasty treats or some other high-value item like small chunks of hot dog. Step 2, as you're walking past your dog, toss a few high-value treats to your dog and continue moving. You can try Native Pet's Calm Chews, as they're made with real chicken, so they're higher value, and they contain ingredients to help reduce stress in your dog. Step 3, slow your pace down, and as you approach the bowl, stop for a second, then toss another high-value treat, then walk away again. Stop if your dog is displaying signs of resource guarding, like stiffening up or even snarling. If what you're doing doesn't seem to be working, it might be time to bring in the help of a professional. If this seems to be working for your dog, step 4 is to continue this process over weeks or even months until your dog is much more comfortable having you approach while they're guarding a high-value item. Slowly transition to approaching without any treats at all and monitor how your dog responds. Over time, you'll work your way up to standing right next to your dog and taking away the valued item and trading them for something else without eliciting any aggression from your pet. So while all of this is very helpful, if your dog is actually resource guarding against you specifically, it doesn't necessarily help when we're trying to involve other animals or even strangers. So what you can do is repeat this exact same exercise, but you're gonna need some volunteers, especially if the resource guarding is against people. Friends, family members, anybody just popping by, repeat this exercise with your dog, but give them even a little bit more distance than what you are practicing with your dog. If the concern is resource guarding against other dogs, what you want to do is get a volunteer dog. Have that dog leashed, and you're going to practice the exact same drive-by exercises, but put a body in between both dogs. So you have your dog that's eating at their bowl, your body, and then the next dog that you're going to do your drive-bys with. Give a little bit more space than you did when practicing with just yourself as well. So what if you have multiple dogs and not just one dog in your household? It can be a lot to environmentally manage that. So while you're working through behavior modification and you're actually doing these exercises individually with all of the dogs separately, you'll want to make sure that everyone is separate when eating to keep everyone safe. Make sure that you're picking up toys in between playtime so that you don't have an accident when two dogs walk into the same room and both of them want the toy at the same time. Also be sure that you clean up any crumbs from under the kitchen counter or the kitchen sink, as that can often be a point of contention for dogs too. If you plan on bringing in a new dog to the family or even have a visiting dog, it's important to know that even if your dog hasn't shown signs of food aggression or resource guarding before, doesn't mean that they won't.
They're just keeping you on your toes.
So you'll want to practice these preventive exercises with that new dog to give your current dog plenty of space and time to get familiar and comfortable with a new dog coming in. We hope that you found this video helpful. For more advice about dog training or even dog behavior, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, check out the Native Pet blog, and thanks again so much for watching.